What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 37 of the Overview. I'm ChanManV, and Fishstix, of course, joining us. Flame joining us again. It's got that Christmas tree in the background too, man. I like the
so festive.
Totally festive, especially with the new event coming out today, which we'll talk about. And then we've got a very familiar face from our doomed or our Wolfenstein days, maybe. we've got IDDQD here, who obviously doesn't have a camera, but still want to welcome you to the show, man. And I'm just kidding, we're not going to use this. There's IDDQD.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Nice to be here.
Yeah, man, it's a pleasure. So yeah, how's everybody doing, man? Everybody good? Been a busy week for everybody?
Getting ready to go to Vegas.
Yes.
Just in a few days.
Yes. Awesome.
Excited.
Flame, you too, right?
I'm overwhelmed. Excited's a word, but I don't know if that's the word.
Flame overwhelmed is. I'm overwhelmed, man.
I'm
totally overwhelmed. Yeah, it's gonna be an exciting time for Chris. Vegas during this time of year is a lot of fun too. I don't know if a lot of people have spent Christmas there, but I've done it once or twice, and definitely very festive. And Vegas is always great, but when it's holidays and stuff, there's always a lot of other stuff going on. So,
apparently, it's the cheapest time.
Yeah, it is
to fly there and stay there and everything. So
totally. So you guys will.
It's not exactly the most family-oriented vacation spot.
No, actually, there is. It's just, of course, we don't. Like most of us don't know anything, but there are actually a few casinos that are very family-oriented, and it's surprising.
Bring your children to the slot machines night.
Exactly. IDDQD.
Merry Christmas.
How about you, man? What you got planned soon? Anything cool?
Well, Hamilton Vegas would have been a fun event to attend to, but unfortunately I am not. So I will be enjoying my festives elsewhere. I'll be taking a little bit of vacation, going overseas, and
nice.
Before things get serious in January.
Yeah, that new year is going to be crazy. So it's good to take a couple weeks off end of the year here, because we know esports. Definitely. There's no off season, even though they say there's an off season. There's no such thing.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking about this last week, IDDQD. You're going to be able to sit home and watch like 16 hours of Overwatch every day because there'll be like two of the biggest tournaments we've had yet are happening the same weekend, which is this weekend.
Yeah, correct. A little bit of scouting. Check it out. No, it's going to be enjoyable to actually be able to watch it for once and just sit back and see where teams have developed over time. It wasn't that long ago I was playing, but it's always nice to see since there's a new meta that has been developed and all that stuff.
Nice new fun meta. I know you love.
Okay, we're getting to that. We're definitely going to get to that in a second.
Seems like the vacation was properly planned, if anything.
Oh, man. Okay. Anyways, big news today. About, an hour and a half ago, the new Winter Wonderland event was released into the wild. And, that means a bunch of new skins, a bunch of holiday Christmas skins. And have you guys gotten a chance to check them out yet? I'm going to bring the game up real quick.
Just on Reddit.
Okay. I tweeted a few pictures too, but why don't we take a look, see which ones are our favorites. I haven't gotten any. So the last Halloween one, my very first loot box, the one they give you for free, I had, I think it was either Reaper or... one of the legendaries. So I was like, oh, does everybody just get a legendary off the first one? Obviously not, but all right, so I'm actually in the game now. Okay, so actually, shoot, as we're doing that, so which ones do you guys like?
Oh, good God, you weren't kidding about the Zenyatta.
Dude, come on.
Nope, that is incredible.
All right, give me a second. I gotta show you.
The Nutcracker Zenyatta with chestnuts instead of orbs.
Dude, it is amazing.
Beautiful.
It is
oh my God.
amazing.
That might be the first one that I think is over the top.
It's so ridiculous.
Over the top in like the
sense
of what am I playing right now? Like,
Flame, think about it. Golden nuts.
I know. I mean, the golden nuts are cool. I'm talking about the face. The face is the over the top. I'm not okay with the mask is the problem. I'm cool with the rest of it.
Dude, totally. I
would have been down with just like a painted face, like a Nutcracker face for Zenyatta, not with like that whole beard and I don't know.
Man,
it's too much for me. It's way too much. I mean, I came from TF2. I know when it's too much.
Dude, that is amazing.
You won't see him that much. He's still pretty trash.
He's still
Zenyatta.
by the time he's used. Actually, I don't know. I've seen a decent amount of him, but tournaments have skins
more.
off anyway.
He helps melting big tanks. You know, Discord helps a little bit.
Yep.
It's just comparatively speaking, the other supports just happen to be better. But yeah, dude, this guy is awesome. I was hoping there was gonna be a voice line now. Of course there wasn't, but I was just hoping that you could just be spamming these nuts, like as you're like spitting out, or not spitting out, actually shooting out these nuts at people. It's gonna be amazing. Are these golden? That's the question. Are these actually?
I'm sure
golden?
you could have a golden gun for it, right?
Golden nuts.
Yeah, you can do golden nuts.
That's
I'm pretty sure.
Freaking amazing, dude. Yeah. Anyways, that's my favorite. So Zenyatta's my favorite.
I think the Abominable Winston is top tier.
That's a good one too. See.
And the Mei skin turns you into a snowman when you go into Icebox.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's pretty, that might be the winner.
Oh, and you just shoot the snowman head. Oh my god.
You just become a snowman.
Dude, that might actually make it easier to headshot you. Some people probably still struggle with headshotting. So when you headshotting like a diva or something like that, harder to tell where her head is sometimes for some like casual players. So it turns you into like a 3-ball snowman kind of thing.
No, I mean instead of the ice block, it's just a snow.
Amazing.
It's an ice block with like snow on the top, and then the head is made of snow because it needs to keep like
you know what
lore
I didn't look at?
and consistency.
Yeah. I didn't look at the highlight intros. Did you guys look at any of these?
Yeah.
Widowmaker's highlight intro.
Oh, let's see.
Widowmaker is pretty nuts. Yeah.
Oh, I
Okay.
I feel like they made this patch like years ago. Like I can't even like. There's so much content actually.
Oh, nice.
And then Roadhog, I think, has the Rudolph skin, and his hook becomes a candy cane.
What? Wait, whoa, no. Okay, Roadhog is my second favorite. Okay, let's look at his skin first, and then we'll look
Rudolph, look at that! What a handsome man.
That is freaking. And it's not a legend either. It's a freaking epic.
Yeah, you have to unbox that. You can't even buy it.
But no, you can buy it. It's $7.50.
Can you? It wouldn't let me before. Maybe I'm dumb.
Yeah, dude. Look at awesome. The cane and the Rudolph, the big old nose on his belly button. That's fucking.
Golden candy cane. That might be a top tier pickup.
Totally. Okay, let me look at this. Let me look at this highlight.
Shit.
Oh, there's no highlight intro for him.
It just says the candy cane though, which is amazing.
Yeah, the candy cane's awesome.
I got like a Reinhardt. What was it? Like a. I don't know if it was a taunt or like a end screen thing where he just like holds up he holds up a bottle. I guess I don't know. It's like he's holding up a beer and it's like.
It's a Stein. He's holding up a Stein. Okay, that's alright.
Sombra actually got a winter skin too. It's not that special, but I think the coloring is nice.
Yeah, the peppermint one.
Yeah.
She looks good.
The epic ones, some of the epic ones are actually pretty good. There were some good ones last time too, but I think in proportion to the legendaries, I think the epic ones were. The McCree. What do you guys think of the McCree one? This is the Scrooge one. This is another epic one.
I mean. It's all right. I like it. I wish you could have detailed the gun a little bit more, like the revolver Peacekeeper he's got. But otherwise, I think it's all right. It's all right. Nothing super special.
I think it speaks volumes for the general quality of all of these skins that we haven't even talked about Santa Torbjorn yet.
Yes,
which is
we're making our
the one that everyone was predicting on Reddit. Everyone was asking for. I haven't seen Reaper yet.
Let's do Santa Torbjorn. We gotta go one at a time. Gosh.
Reaper is easily the dopest of the skins.
Wow.
Okay. Let's get there. Let's talk about Santa Torbjorn first, and we'll go to Reaper here. Dude, the actual details on like his actual weapon and his hammer looking like Tinker, Tinker equipment looks really, really cool.
Yeah, that doesn't look bad at all. That's pretty nice.
But would Santa really be a dwarf? Like, kind of.
That's a good point too.
There.
That is a good point. I think a lot of people were hoping for Reinhardt too, right? Some people were Reinhardt Santa. Most of the people were Torbjorn Santa though. Okay, so you're talking about Reaper now, right? He doesn't. Wait, let me double check.
Reaper and Pharah, probably Flame, I'd say, are the ones who.
Pharah's pretty good, but
Pharah
Reaper's mask, man, is like.
All right, here we go.
Kind of spectral kind of thing.
I like Pharah's. I still like Pharah's Halloween skin better, I think.
Wow, look at the details on this Reaper. He's got like a snowflake embossed design on the back of his cloak.
Yep.
It's kind of cool, and he's got this the metal spine thing, right?
Mystic Arg in chat says, "I am highly upset that there is no ugly Christmas sweater for 76."
That's what
That
a
would
lot
have
of
been pretty
people are
good.
saying.
It's true.
Exactly. All right, let's look at this Pharah one.
Zarya's pretty good too, but Zarya's like, I feel like it's too perfect, you know? Like, I feel like this would have been a good skin if the game had just came out. Like, forget the Christmas idea. It just looks
Actually, wait, Farrah's pretty dope too.
Dude, Pharah looks
Yeah.
like there's gonna be some frozen memes with this one. Looks too Elsa like. Okay, that's pretty cool though. She's got the little shimmer coming off of her and everything. Or you said Zarya? Zarya always gets screwed, man. I think
No, Zarya looks good, but
Really?
it looks good. Like, it doesn't look Christmassy. That's why it looks really good. Like, I would use that year round.
Yeah, but that's
Everyone in chat is saying you check out Zarya's emote.
okay. Well,
Ooh.
her skin is just like, nah. It's the least winter thing for. I mean, this looks like a ski outfit or something. So what? Her intro or victory pose?
I think it was emote.
BK, that
Emote,
emote.
okay.
Yeah.
That's what everyone's saying in chat.
That's the expensive emote.
It changes.
Oh,
It's random. There's like
It's random?
Okay.
Yeah, there's
Oh,
like
nice.
4 different
There's
ones.
another box.
Oh, she got another.
Oh, oh
Ah,
my God! This is good. This is
It's
so
like
good.
the Russian dolls.
This is awesome.
Just squeezes the head off the teddy bear.
Okay, is there another one? Is there only 2 of them? Let me see. Oh, there's
There's 3.
three.
I've seen 3
there's
different
3.
ones,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, okay, that's a good one. That's a really good one. What else are we missing here? Tracer and her elf.
Yeah, that's pretty good too.
That one's
Favorite skin, right there
It
for
always
me.
just looks good. Which one, Pharah?
No, the Tracer
Tracer.
one.
Tracer one. Yeah, this is the. Oh, this is a nice little candy cane on her back too. That's cool.
Lucia's is alright. The hat's
is-
good, but man.
Tracer's looks, man, it looks really tight. She always has the tightest looking characters. It's pretty cool. So, Andy, another epic. There's like a ton of epics this time around. Okay, yeah.
I
this
feel
one's
like they
better.
went all out with this one. It seems more substantial than the Halloween skins. I think.
Really? I thought the Halloween's.
I don't know.
Too.
Maybe there were just as many. It seems like a lot. I don't know.
That does seem like a lot.
Yeah, there's some overlap. Which last time I think the Halloween there was no overlap, right, with the winter games. But this time,
Oh,
like a
yeah.
few, like Reaper has one, right?
I mean, I wonder if some of these were older, because there's like that video, or there's that picture from like 3 years ago or whatever, 2 years ago with like Torbjorn in the Santa outfit.
Getting anything
Happy
else?
Holidays from
There's gotta be
Overwatch.
some. I didn't really look through the highlight intros. I gotta be missing some highlight.
Some Plant Galaxy in chat says Symmetra intro's pretty good too.
Symmetra. Go Symmetra highlight intro. Okay. Snowflakes.
That's pretty sick, actually.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh,
That's dope.
okay.
Holy.
Okay. That's good. Everybody, get ready to use this. Or get ready to buy this highlight intro because you're gonna start be using Symmetra probably in the near future here. All right, it's good. Good. Well, there's probably 1 or 2 more that we haven't quite gotten to, but definitely check it out, guys. We all get like a free loot box right off the start, and I've been trying to. I played the arcade, did the 1v1 like really quickly too, just so I could get the free loot box from that, and you can get a total of I think 6 from the arcade just each week too. So definitely take advantage of that, guys, if you don't want to just have to keep grinding quick play or competitive or even buy them, but eventually we all succumb and we all end up buying them. Are you guys gonna buy them early or are you guys gonna wait this time?
When the mood strikes.
When the mood strikes. Okay.
Did they announce how long the skins were?
Second,
Gonna
I think.
be? Oh,
Yeah, second. It's not
it's
that long.
not a ton of time.
Yeah,
a couple weeks.
It's really not that long. But okay, yeah, so a lot of fun. It'll be interesting to see which the next event will be because, the most obvious ones are Halloween and I think Christmas or holidays. But after that, I mean, Easter? Valentine's? I don't even know, man. It's gonna be interesting to see. Maybe Mardi
The
Gras.
Overwatch League all day.
Yeah, Overwatch League all day.
Mardi Gras would be dope, man.
Yeah, Mardi Gras would be
Mardi
pretty
Gras.
dope. I could see some interesting.
I don't think
Maybe the
our-
lunar year and all that stuff too. They seem to do it for a while a lot. Maybe for
lunar
Overwatch as
year?
well.
Okay, like
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really
Asian-
bad at
Asian
calendars, but I'm sure that there'd be
That's true.
some crazy Chinese New Year event
That's
like
true.
Dota does.
Oh man.
Yeah, they always do that for the other games, so I think we're gonna see something detailed here as well.
Dragon ones. Oh, that'd be
Exactly. Hanzo Genji. Yep.
totally. All right, let's talk a little bit about the meta, and you know, we've had some funny things happen. We have Flame with his proposed balance changes, like I think yesterday or the day before, and freaking our competitive Overwatch just went nuts with comments there. IDQD with his streams, which have been pretty entertaining recently too. How happy?
Yeah, that's the word.
Exactly. So, I know we've talked about the meta in the last couple of weeks, so we all know what type of meta we're talking about with tank heavy, just sustain. I guess let's talk about what some changes would be, like what changes we'd like to propose or what would be good. And I think there's some very prevalent ones, you know, that people all agree on. But given that you listed all of these other ones yesterday, Flame, I figured we would use this as just at least a, you know, just some kind of template to talk about just this discussion, and then we can kind of, you know, jump off from there with any kind of other suggestions. Why don't we bring that up first, and then go from there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wrote them in like 5 minutes. I didn't really expect them to wind up on Reddit. It was more like a Twitter specific thing, but I mean, there was a lot of discussion over them.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, the first one you have here is Ana, right? So you put sleep is no longer instant, has a 1-second drowsiness stage. Okay, so you kind of slowly ease into sleep, I guess is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of the global flashbang.
Yeah, and then you can purge it off with like Zarya, and I think
Tracer
that's it, right?
stuff.
Pretty much a Zarya bubble, right?
Yeah, Tracer, Reaper, May.
Oh yeah, that's right. Rewind and all. Yeah. So what do you think sleep is an issue right now, guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the whole kit by itself is too much. I think. I mean, there's like a lot of people argued, I guess, that you could remove her heal rate or something, but I mean, there's multiple ways you could go about balancing her. I think I just decided to go for the fact that you just be able to kill her without having to invest like your entire life for 3 people.
Yeah, I think her survivability is obviously one of the multiple issues that I think a lot of people are complaining.
For me, man, I don't know. I would go the route of just nerfing the healing per second. Just at least from a personal perspective, it gets so frustrating when your team, I mean, I'm speaking from a competitive matchmaking perspective, not necessarily organized scrims and matches and all that, but it gets so frustrating when you're focusing down a Pharah or a McCree or it doesn't matter what it is, and they're getting so low but just healed every single time. If you can't invest like 3 or 4 people to attack the exact same person at the exact right time, then Anas are just going to out heal you every time. There's nothing a single person can do to kill someone faster than Ana can heal them. And that for me is becoming really frustrating on ladder. That it just seems like a medium skilled Ana, like focusing something makes it so that you absolutely have no wiggle room other than to invest like multiple people into killing the same target, which I mean, in theory is not necessarily a bad thing if you're in an organized scenario, but in ladder, it can be really frustrating. But I'd be curious to know what IDDQD thinks is the most OP part about her kit, or how you would tone her down.
Oh wow, where to begin?
Yeah.
No, so honestly, I do feel like the vial is the problem here. Obviously, I feel like in the beginning people were complaining that the vial was a little bit too short, was too little low. It would also hit friendly teammates in scenarios where you wanted to hit enemies instead. They didn't really work around that. Instead, they would upgrade or they would boost the radius on it when it actually detonates or explode. And this has actually shown out to be more of an issue than it normally was supposed to be. You can do some really funky stuff with your vial now. You have a Reinhardt shield who's standing close to a wall. You can literally just hit the wall next to him, and the shield gets completely neglected, and they'll get the healing debuff on them. But it's just the vial in general is very strong, right? It's an excellent tool. It shuts down a lot of heroes, if not every single support out there except for Ana. No, actually, it also shuts down the enemy Ana too.
Yeah, it does.
And there's really no counterplay to it, which is kind of weird. And then you combine that with the rest of her kit, she becomes a very, very solid hero, if not the strongest support. I don't see the reason why you should play any other support than an Ana right now as the first pick. And if you have a 100% pick ratio on a hero, it's kind of going back to the Lucio days where, you're always going to see a Lucio, but maybe some other support. I think something needs to be done with her vial. Something, either the numbers needs to be drastically changed, or they need to go back to the old radius that it used to be.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I think last
Vile's
week
the
we
big
even
issue.
just suggested maybe take away the debuff, just make it do a little bit of damage. I mean, then it wouldn't be that useful as
well, I think,
as an attack ability at that point. But
I feel like her debuff was one of the main reasons for even making the Vile, right? Because at the time it was when Zen was the big support, right, with his Transcendence, and it was basically countering every single ult. So it's just like, okay, the actual nerfing of the heal basically just counters that. So Ana counters Zen type of thing, right? But so it'd be kind of weird if they completely removed that. Maybe just like shorten it by a little bit, but not changing, like taking it away altogether. That would be kind of.
Another thing could be used limiting the numbers that it actually has. Instead of removing healing completely, you could actually increase the damage by a little bit on the Vial, but you'd make it so instead of 100% healing debuff, you'd make it like 50. And there you go. That's already an improvement.
That's true.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. There's a lot of different ideas I think people have. They're like, oh, sleep dart's not the problem, healing's not the problem. It's like, just you have to pick one, you know. I don't know that she's like OP if you take away one part of her kit, or at least like nerf one or two parts of her kit. Because like I don't mind her ranged healing and stuff, or like how fast she can heal. I think it's more the fact that when you try to gank her, you just can't. You know, like I think that's what kind of tilts me about it anyway.
Yeah.
Her very interesting hitbox and crouch mechanic.
Yeah, it's like Roadhog is super prevalent right now, like powerful, but Anna's like one of the few heroes that you can't reliably one shot. So it like makes her even better in that sense too than the other supports. I don't know. It's one way to think about it too.
It's a pretty basic thing. I mean, if you're gonna have characters that are super powerful or have like very, very powerful abilities, then they have to be killable, right? I mean, there has to be a way to counter them, just like all the other supports. If Zenyatta's really strong from the back, then you can dive at him, and you should win that encounter if you dive at him. That's supposed to be the weakness for him. Like Ana just doesn't have that issue right now. She's just good all the way around, and they need to make something weak about her. And at first they were focusing on the nano boost. Like, do you guys even? I mean, you guys didn't even mention nano boost at this point.
I think they should rebuff Nano Boost, to be honest with you. Like, I mean, Nano Boost is good right now. Or I'd switch the way that they nerfed it, I guess. I think it should get the speed back. I mean, it feels like kind of weird right now.
Yeah,
but at the same time, I'm not really. Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry. Continue.
It's like either way it works, right? It's like you could keep it the way it is, but I think that the speed is what made it good. But what's crazy is that she's still top tier, and I don't even think her ult's really that crazy good right now.
Yeah, her ult's like the weakest part of her kit. Everything else is amazing.
Yeah,
that's true. Like my initial proposed change for her ultimate was that instead of removing the speed boost, why not just remove the damage resistance that the targets get, so you actually have to either go all in or actually make a decision on the nano boost, like an extra push or being a little bit extra aggressive on a point. Like why would you remove the speed buff? I think that was the fun part about the ultimate, that it was kind of scary to go up against, but the damage resistance, in my opinion, was the game breaker for me. So I would like to see the damage resistance taken away, but the speed buff coming back.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. That'd be having just the really slow characters be able just to chase down guys it was definitely one of the most fun parts about it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, why don't we move on? So why don't we talk about Diva now? Just I guess the next character that I think a lot of people have been trying to figure out how to nerf. So we're talking about, all right, Flame, you actually put here reduce the uptime for Matrix by 20%. Take away the
I hate Matrix, man. There are people that like bring back the old Matrix, but I think the old Matrix was really underwhelming. Like you had like a 4-second cooldown for 4-second ability. Yeah, I hated the old one.
I mean, it was the old Matrix for me was more of a usability thing. Like it just didn't feel right, like the way you were using it.
Also, did you guys watch Thorin and Monty and Reinforce the other day on
the Oversight? Yeah.
Well, they were talking about Thorin brought up like this point about like shouldn't tanks not do damage, or like shouldn't they just be tanks? And then Monty brought up this point about like how he didn't think that Blizzard wanted tanks to feel unfun or like not do damage and stuff. And I was thinking to myself, like, you could just nerf her damage and she wouldn't feel that crazy, but it's a weird it's like a weird line where you want to keep her pubbable and then do you mind competitive? Because like the Matrix is just really good.
Yeah, the Matrix.
All right, so I mean, we're talking about the Matrix. We're talking about the health too. So you're telling me to take away the 100 health they added to her too?
Because I mean, they gave her speed. Like, does she need more health? I don't know. I don't think so. 600 is so much, man. Like when you think about it.
It is, especially with Ana now just being prevalent. Before, when Ana wasn't prevalent, the extra 100 health might have been like might have made a lot more sense. But now that you're getting healed from just far away, and yeah, it's just really difficult to kill D.Va at this point.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing too is that a lot of the changes, I mean, that I even proposed or whatever, if you start messing with Ana's heal rate, I think some heroes actually get super bad. I mean, D.Va's probably one of them, but do I care about that? Not really. I don't know.
Well, Winston takes a hit too, probably.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, IDDQD on your stream tuned in a couple times, and you're
God.
sitting there you're making it look like playing D.Va is like an instant win. Doesn't work like that when I play D.Va, but what do you think? Why is she just so incredible right now?
Wow. It's just she's a raid boss, honestly. Everything about her makes me frustrated. Like it came to the point during that stream, right, where you saw D.Va all the time, and even in Grandmaster, people didn't really know how to handle her. So I was like, hell yeah, I'm just gonna play D.Va, and I'm gonna show the stream that this is how easy it is. And the problem with her is not the fact that the problem with her is that she can duel anyone in the game, right? And she's like positively always gonna come out on top on that duel, whoever she goes up against, right? She's a tank, after all. Her damage, that's pretty interesting too. Yeah, her damage output is quite interesting in the fact that she can completely destroy any DPS class out there. Like if you have, I think everyone has been in that little corner when D.Va pushes you up against the wall, and you have that 200 HP McCree trying to do something, but you can't. There's nothing you can do about it. She's just gonna destroy you. Proposed changes, no idea. My best bet would be just, I don't know, either you lower the damage, like Flame said, or you take away some of the movement speed, because that was one of the buffs that she was given, right? That she can move faster while shooting now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, revert that. Just revert that completely. Either you keep the damage or revert the movement speed, or you keep the movement speed and you reduce her damage. She can't have both. She is a complete powerhouse.
What do you think about
and the defense matrix too? Like, yeah,
let's just change her just completely.
Let's just
screw the
entire
nuke
hero.
too.
Get her out.
Yeah, let's make the nuke 2 seconds longer too.
Can we? I mean, I'd rather. Honestly, like, can we just do that?
It's funny. It's funny because like I remember there was like that patch where Zenyatta had 50%, and people be begging for that right now.
Yeah, that's. I know what you mean. I know what you mean by that. What do you guys think about? I mean, this is like out there. I mean, I think it definitely reducing her damage is one way to do it. But what if her just shooting range was just even larger of a range, just randomness range? I mean, is it an issue where she's just too close right now? Because, you know, like, she still can't do much damage from far away, right? That's still a weakness of hers. But the issue right now is, like, she's just always in your face, and she's
the thing is, like, she's a gap closer, and she has too much health to, like, punish her for closing the gap. It's like,
okay.
Like, if she sees a 76 across the way or something, you just go run it to 76. Oh, God, like, you just fly to him, and they can't kill you. And then while you're flying, even if you're taking damage, the Ana's still healing you, and then it's, like, very hard to deal with.
And maybe not being able to matrix when you're flying, like, you're moving. Because the problem is, like, she can just matrix the entire time while she's, you know, chasing you, which is a little bit crazy.
I mean, that was one of my suggestions for her right quick, right? Her matrix is that you have some sort of like the more damage she deflects with it, or the more damage she absorbs, the cooldown would start to sink even faster, right?
Right.
So if she's like trying to completely neglect a Roadhog ultimate, that deep matrix would just deplete instantly almost, because that's kind of how I feel it should be. Like, the more she can literally just hold it in and deflect like 4 ultimates if you want to, you know, like that's also a problem. But what if you made it? So I don't know how you should go around it, but what if you actually had something similar that, you know, being able to neglect the Roadhog ultimate is crucial, and it's really good for your team if you manage to do that, or a Sariel, for example. But what if that somehow translated into, you know, you absorbing the whole ultimate, the matrix just depletes almost instantly? For example, like, there's a lot of things you can do, but it's just her kit in general is so strong.
Yeah, some of the ults too are like very easy to catch. I would say, like, Mei ult, she makes like this like really loud cry, and I know for a fact that you can easily catch a Mei ult as D.Va right now.
Yep.
So it's like you want to run Diva to killer, but can you? I don't know.
That'd be crazy to catch it all. Wow. Okay, well, let's move on. 76. Take 1 damage off the bullet he shoots. I think we talked about this too.
I mean, it's just one more shot to kill things.
I think that's
is the
fair.
logic.
Yeah, totally. I think.
Well,
that's
IDDQD, you were saying there's this clip from your stream again that made it on Reddit. That was just you basically saying like, Soldier has run and heal station and all this damage and long range and mid range, and McCree has a flashbang.
Yep.
Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit? It's pretty straightforward, but
okay, yeah. So that's true though. Think about it. Compare McCree and okay. So one of the most asked questions on the stream is when do I use McCree? When do I use Soldier? Is McCree out of the meta? Where is Soldier fitting in this? And when should I use McCree? So I'm just trying to be honest. McCree is compared to Soldier right now, in my opinion, is like you can't compare them to, right? So what I always wanted to happen is that McCree should be like the kind of low to medium range kind of character, while Soldier will be the medium to the far range, right? And that's true, man. If you think about it, Soldier has to heal, he has to sprint, he has the very dominant right click. He has an ultimate that actually is very beneficial to the ana boost in the team, right? Like everything about Soldier's kit is very good. And then on top of that, he would get increased damage on his bullets. His ultimate would effectively become even stronger, right? And then you have McCree who has a flashbang and an ultimate that is barely used. And so comparing those two is kind of strange in a way, right? So my propose for trying to get Soldier down on a little bit of the balance state was that I know that he received a damage buff onto his bullets, which is fine, right? But I do think it's way too strong when you use the ultimate. So what if you keep the actual damage buff that he got from the Fallout? You keep it, but you remove the damage buff that was also added to the ultimate. So the nano boost actually has like a purpose for it. Because right now, if you nano boost the Soldier, he's just going to melt the whole team in a matter of seconds. You don't even need a Sneala. He's just going to destroy everyone. But you're giving a little bit of a counterplay chance if you take away those extra little bit of damage that the ultimate has right now. And then you kind of bring him back to mortal status, in my opinion.
Okay, so I think those are good suggestions, but why is it that, is this purely just because of meta? Like, we're talking about a lot of these things, and it's like 76 has this incredible kit and whatnot, but it was just like 2 months ago that Soldier was not being played at all. And it was there was a reason behind even just buffing his damage, right? So we're talking just a big meta change as to putting Soldier viable again. Would he be viable again even if they didn't make that change like 2 months ago? Like if they didn't ever upgrade his damage, would people eventually have played Soldier because of his kit?
Probably not. I mean, one of the things too I think that makes him good right now is when tanks are so good, he's also like, he doesn't die to Diva so fast. I mean, if you're McCree, you just kind of have to stand there. Like the mobility is a big deal.
Yeah,
but
that's
it's like everything adds up, I think.
I think that's a major problem too. Like you mentioned it, fine. McCree doesn't really have any escape. It's like if he gets caught off guard, you're done for. There's nothing you can do. Soldier at least has a heal. I mean, take the scenario where you're fighting a Diva, for example, 1v1. I'm not saying that's going to happen all the time, but the Soldier can actually 1v1 a Diva if you keep the heal for whenever she kind of panics. And if you start shooting her in the face, then you're actually going to break her mech and you're going to be able to kill her, right? But McCree, he can't do anything at all. He's screwed from the beginning. Like that matchup is so unfair. And that's kind of where we're coming from when we're talking about the mobility thing. He can't do anything. And that's the major deal breaker for me. That's why I feel like McCree right now is not even close to what Soldier is.
Well, I mean, I think at the end of the day, you want the game in a spot where like strategy. I mean, it's hard to compare, I guess, because people were worse, I guess, earlier when the game was brand new. But there was definitely a patch where even towards the end of the Reaper Nano Boost patch, like people were starting to pick McCree and Pharah a little bit more because people started realizing like, oh, they're running May Reaper Zarya, maybe we should just run Pharah. And then once the Pharah left, then the McCree came in, and then you wound up in like a very good swapping state. And I think that was really good. But getting back there currently just seems a little bit harder. I mean, like right now, I think we'll talk about NGE later, but Team Gesture are running Tracer now a little bit more because they're realizing like, oh, they're not really running a McCree or something. And teams are even ditching 76 right now because they don't even feel like he's worth running because 4 tanks is just better than 3 tanks. But it's like the meta is shifting in that direction, but at the same time, the problem is the ease of execution on the tank comps. Like just existing on the cart is stopping it, and just existing on the cart is pushing it. So if you just put enough HP in one spot, then things like, you know, like you play towards the objectives that way. And it's just like an ease versus execution thing, I think, is imbalanced in the tank favor right now.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I brought that up,
so much
like,
fun to play though.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, I mean, I was just gonna. I mean, the reason I was bringing that up is just because it's so tough designing this game, especially designing this game and trying to like pacify us too, you know, or just keep us satisfied too, because, you know, I still think, generally speaking, in IDDQD, you can tell me I'm wrong here or not, but I still feel like we don't sit in a meta long enough, or we don't sit on a patch long enough, that the players will get to the point where they've literally exhausted every single type of counter strategies and different strategies to you know, figure out how to beat a, you know, just whatever dominant meta there is right now, given the current patch. You know, and what I definitely don't want to see just basically a patch just dictate a meta, and then like that meta is, you know, the meta changing, the players are just waiting for basically another change, like some change to Diva or some change to Ana here, right, to basically change the meta again, instead of you know, really exhausting every single kind of testing of different comps and whatnot.
No, that's true. That's very true.
I mean, one thing though, I think, I mean, I don't even know if this is salt or whatever, but the concept of, I think last patch was actually good in retrospect if you had just removed the Nano Reaper. Like, I think that there was so much, like, that patch was evolving over time. Like, even going into that patch, we were like, oh, we're just going to run triple tank, Nips unbeatable, and then, like, Misfits beats them at E-League, and then suddenly Misfits starts losing to other teams, and Nano Reaper gets patched out midway through Apex. And, like, during even Apex, people were running different stuff, I think, because even Nano Genji was really good too. So teams were running Genji and they weren't always running Reaper, and like there was definitely a lot of counter picking going on. So when PTR happened, it was kind of abrupt, I think, because I don't know that you can actually just say, okay, we're going to nerf ults 25%. I think like there's a lot more that goes into the game that you can't just make a blanket statement like that. Like as far as cart time, as far as how long it takes for pushes, like respawns and stuff, because I don't know, like I feel like I've watched a lot of Koth and Route 66 this week, and one thing that kind of irks me is that Koth respawns are the same for the team that has the point and the team that doesn't. When in other games, obviously, if you have the point, your respawn's longer, just to like balance out the advantage of you being the defender. So that's one thing that I think is weird, and like makes that, it amplifies now more that ults are less prevalent because you have less opportunities to get back, but that's something that I would like to see changed. And then on like Route 66, you get like 1 minute and 30 seconds for second and third point, which is so little. And the fact that they nerfed the ults again makes it so like if you mess up one fight, you really get screwed pretty hard for a pretty long time because of how long it takes you to get it back. Like teams will be playing Zarya right now and then they'll die and they're just like, okay, I'm only at 40%, but I've been alive for 5 minutes and somehow I still don't have ult. And like on offense, if you don't have ults, you don't team wipe, and if you don't team wipe, you don't win. So I think like there's a lot of balance changes that can be applied outside of just heroes like specific stuff. Yeah. Like the idea of stalling carts and the idea of putting ice blocks on the carts and putting like Reaper rates on the carts and all this other stuff that you can't actually kill, I think is a weird thing. And even like the lack of respawn wave time, so you can just keep suiciding on those last holds, is a little weird. But as the game progresses, I think we'll see changes to that, or I hope we see changes to that. Yeah. But I think like all of these lack of things is what's making tanks feel super, super good right now. Like if you add all that up.
Yeah, that's true. I've also been talking about it with a little bit of other players as well, like within the scene, and like it's just, you know, early stages, there's nothing concrete, but we've always like talked about a little bit back and forth. What if DPS characters did extra damage to armor, for example? Like that could also be an interesting thing down the road that makes DPS still viable no matter what, right?
You know what else was an idea? When the game came out, I had the idea that like shields should just block that last instance of damage no matter how much it was. So like if you took 20 damage on a Symmetra shield that had 25 health, then if you shot a rocket at that
Oh, I
next
see.
thing, it would just break the shield and you'd still have your
carryover.
full health.
Right, the carry.
So then you could just
Oh.
like that's how I thought shields should have worked when the game came out, and like that's how I thought they were gonna work. But when they didn't, it was kind of weird.
Kind of like sheet death in a way.
Like imagine if if you had 225 HP and 25 was Symmetra, but then Faris shot a rocket, you would only go down to 200 HP because the shield would break, not you.
It's not just an extension of your hit points. It's an actual different barrier itself.
All right.
And like armor would be more like damage resistant or something, and shields would be more explosive resistant. Something in that along those lines would have been cool to me, but
yeah, definitely.
It's just more advanced mechanics, I guess, at that point.
Okay, well, there's like a lot more here, and hopefully you guys can definitely check out some more of this, but we definitely have some more things to talk about in the show, so we should move on. And
there's one more thing
more thing. Sure.
Before we move on.
Okay.
I read through the changes, the patch. I didn't realize that the new Symmetra was going live, though. So that's live now.
It's what? It's live now?
Oh
my god! I just I didn't miss that. Holy crap!
I didn't see it in the patch notes for whatever reason.
I
read them in like 2 seconds.
Let me get on this thing.
It's Symmetra and the Zarya change.
Holy smokes!
So that means we're gonna see that.
I forget. The Zarya change
is... so like things that go through barriers like Symmetra bubbles and Reinhardt fire strikes, they don't hit your bubble twice now.
Right.
So you get less charge, I guess.
Damn, they really don't want to see Zarya anymore, huh?
Huge.
Well, it's like a weird trade-off, right? Because fire strike only does 150.
Yeah.
So it won't actually break the bubble now. So you'll have like an extra couple seconds maybe if you time it right. You get like your extra 2 seconds after it.
Yeah, but she just wants that
right now. That's kind of weird.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so Symmetra's out there. All right, get that highlight intro, guys. Yes, Symmetra's gonna be played. It's gonna be pretty crazy.
I mean,
it's gonna be crazy.
It's just gonna be crazy this weekend.
Holy
during
crap.
the 2 major tournaments. If we see any Symmetra brought out, it's gonna be.
I think he will.
It's gonna be really sick.
Somebody's gonna do it.
Or is it going to be DreamHack thing where teams practice with Sombra, then they can't play her?
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, hopefully not.
We don't talk about that.
Well, speaking of events and, I guess having things you can't play, one of the biggest discussions in the community this past week was just the map ban discussion. And started with, obviously the 2 big events, MLG and IEM are coming up this weekend. And both events are not having any kind of map draft, no banning, just they pick the maps. You guys, the teams have to play them. And the teams even came together, put up a petition. Everybody signed it. Every team signed it and presented it to NLG. But obviously the request was still denied. So a lot of people were a bit upset about it. Obviously, folks were talking about just the point of map drafts, why we must have them. So I figured we would have that same discussion here. IDQD, why don't you start us with it? How do you feel about map drafts and, just, I guess, thoughts just generally on map drafts?
We need to have it. Come on now. It's kind of ridiculous that we haven't got to the stage where that is an actual... I mean, it's just, okay, I get it. I get it why they're doing what they're doing, but give the players a little bit of freedom just to be able to, choose what maps they want to play. I think it's fun that some teams excel at some maps and some others excel at others, because there's a little bit of a mind game with a proper ban and pick phase, right? With maps, it's actually fun to see what teams do what. There's a little bit of mind games going on.
There's strategy. There's definitely strategy in the beginning.
Yeah, there's definitely strategy pre-game, and I like that. I like that about everything, and I get it. They want to show off all the maps, but you know what? Ilios isn't that fun, Blizzard, and neither is CP maps. I'm sorry, but yeah. I don't know. We need map traps. We do. Ban and pick face, please.
All right. Fishstix, what do you think?
I'm trying to see both sides here. But from my perspective, if there's a unanimous consensus across the entire competitive community, that probably means something. My only caveat there is, if you took everything that was a unanimous consensus across the competitive community and implemented it immediately, we would still be using stopwatch mode. And believe me, I was a proponent of stopwatch mode. We talked about it on like the first 20 shows first 10 shows until we got time bank, but we never would have had time bank, right? That's just a microcosm example. So in this particular case, I do agree that I mean, for one, it just the maps that they chose, it seems kind of arbitrary and strange that some maps have like more prevalence than others. I'm definitely in favor of a pick ban phase, but I kind of would prefer if there was a picking and banning phase for maps for you to be able to pick first, for teams to be able to pick first, perhaps. So you could have teams that have a specialty on a specific map that maybe is off kilter and throw that as a wild card in the grand finals or something. Like, I know competitive players probably hate that because competitive players love consistency and don't want to have to practice things that they don't need to. That's my perception, at least. But but the only concern, I guess, and if you're putting yourself in Blizzard's shoes, what is their concern with this? Obviously, it's going to be that we're going to Kings Row, Numbani, Dorado over and over and over again. That's the only good reason I can think of why they'd want to be pushing this so hard. And that's a valid concern, I think, to an extent. But the fact that there's such a wide consensus, I'm actually a little bit surprised that they didn't cave if there was like a letter co-authored by all the top teams. I mean,
we've seen decisions made pretty quickly on changing formats. I mean, we saw it during the Atlantic Showdown, right? Where they were using a completely different point system that was confusing as hell, and it was just crazy. And they made a quick decision to change that. So they had, they have relented at times when it made the most sense. And I agree with you, Ben. I'm surprised they didn't make the call on that, just given how much the player community and just the general community, I think, feel about it. Blaine, what do you think, man?
I mean, I understand their logic, I guess, or at least where they're coming from, and that they don't want the same like 4 or 5 maps played every single tournament, whatever. And that's definitely true. I mean, I came from TF2, and like TF2, everyone played Badlands like every single time. Like every match had a Badlands match, and then you saw maps that were actually, I thought, pretty good spectator-wise, just getting phased out because players didn't want to watch them, or play them, even though spectator-wise it was like one of the more hype maps. I mean, you guys probably don't even know the maps I'm talking about, but there were maps that were really good to watch, but not really good to play. And I think that's where the split is right now. I think that my biggest problem was more along the lines of the timing of everything. I definitely get why they couldn't cave because NGE started. So if they were going to cave after NGE started, that would have looked really bad. It's like, oh, MLG doesn't have it, but NGE has to have it. And then we started off on this tournament. Like, I think it has to be unanimous and across all of the tournaments coming up. There's like 3. So once they made the call on IEM, I think it was locked until like, I think we're going to be locked with this. Even if there is ever a like meeting point in the middle between the players and Blizzard, I think it won't come until like late January when NGE is over. But I was trying to find middle ground, I guess. Like I messaged a few people. I think like Jan, one of the esports coordinators, I think in Europe, or esports managers. And I was like, oh, you could try 7 maps per best of 3 or something. Like you can pick your 7 maps if you're Blizzard, just so that the players can ban between those 7 maps. So like maybe you don't have Kings Row in every single pool of every single round. So like that would be one way to do it. But I think that there needs to be like a lot of thought when going into these pools, because for NGE, it becomes very obvious, at least to me as a player and as a spectator, what maps are going to be played if there's only 6 or 7 in the pool, because you can tell which maps people just actually don't ever want to play. I think yesterday was the first day we saw a 2CP, and it was like a Hail Mary 2CP pick, which is really good, right, in reality, that they can go to that. But the players definitely will try their best to stray away from those maps. So if you only have 6 maps and one of them's Ilios, one of them's Hanamura, one of them's Anubis or something, then like the odds of them playing that in the best of 3 is so slim, like it's never going to happen. So at that point, you're arguably forcing maps in a way. You're not like forcing them, but it's like pushing them in that direction, or it's like forcing their hand a little bit.
Let's talk about that. So some of the folks that are, wondering, why are these players complaining? Why can't they just be good at every single map? Like, can't they just practice them all and be good at it? Because, like, there are arguments normally. We just don't want to see, like, teams that are only good at 3 maps end up, winning or winning the world championships when there are so many other maps, and that's not really a good display of how good they are with just the general map pool. But what do you say to these folks, IDDQD?
Like in what do you mean? Like
why aren't you guys practicing or why aren't you guys trying to be good at every single map versus maybe specializing in a few?
Well, obviously that was an issue. Like eventually you can have so many maps that it's impossible to have like a fine balance across all the maps, right? We're probably not there yet. We actually might be. But I think the biggest issue right now is just the fact that there are many maps and there's way more to come as well. So right now this might work as an excuse that there's not enough. But a half a year from now on, there's probably going to be might be 4, 5, 6 maps along the road, and you can't expect any team to be able to be good at every single map, right? And that it exposes their strength as well. And that's what's kind of further strengthened by the fact that you have a ban and a pick phase, that teams actually do have a little bit of a chance to be like, hey, take us on. Let's say Hanamura, take us on Dorado, anything like that. But it's tiresome, and it's also it's very crucial for teams in general is to go through these maps and be able to find like specific strategy, standpoints, call outs, and all that stuff. It's going to get to the point where it gets used too much.
Yeah.
And right now, you don't really have the safety of banning out maps that you feel like you're not strong enough on. So, I mean, for example, if you have a map around the corner that you're going to play at a tournament and there's no ban phase, and let's say you practice, I don't know, let's say it's Ilios, for example. Let's say your team went through that map for 2 days straight and you just figured everything out and you're like, okay, we're strong on this one, now we're going to play it. And then all of a sudden, here comes another map into the phrase. And then you're going to have to do the same thing again. And it's just too much information. Too much to keep track of.
Yeah, I mean, there's also like an argument over the competition standpoint of the maps in general. I mean, it happens on a lot of maps, arguably, even on like payloads and 2C, like payloads and Koth, you'll be like, oh, that ult right there is why they lost this map. And I think like it gets amplified a little bit on those maps to the point where stopping the snowball is a little less reliable on 2CP, because like even if you watched Gibraltar yesterday, there were a few times where a team would get steamrolled on the first point, they get steamrolled on the second point, and then like it wouldn't matter because they'd still have time to get their ults by the time it got to the third point, so they could like reset and keep themselves up, like you can get back in the game on the third point because there's enough time that your ult will just like passively have built by that time. But on 2CP, it's like if you get steamrolled, you just get steamrolled, and people don't like the loss. Like you win or lose based on one fight, arguably sometimes. Like that first fight on defense, if you lose, the odds of you winning or like holding on second point is like super, super low. So I think that that's one of the reasons why people are straying away from it, is because like getting consistent results on those maps specifically is like very difficult. Like, even if you consider yourself good, you can get upset very easily by like a really strong push or a lucky push or something.
So because of let's just say the future, like you're talking IDDQD, and because there's just gonna be more and more maps coming, should we just have X number of maps that are just always in the global competitive pool, that every single tournament event, the Blizzard basically establishes that, okay, we're gonna have eight maps at all times just in the pool. These these maps might change, just whatever maps they are, but it's always just going to be 8. And you kind of, if we do have a draft, you draft from these things. If not, you still pick from these things. I mean, we're gonna have to have that kind of system soon, or is that something that I don't know, you guys just aren't a big fan of?
Well, so it's interesting to hear the players' perspective. I guess look to you guys, because when I was looking through a lot of the feedback on Discord and all that, it seemed like it was really important to the players to have they really appreciated having a smaller map pool. That was like the one thing you saw in Reinforce's post about this, and a couple other places, that the players actually practicing for these tournaments. The silver lining on the more recent on like the new list of maps that are coming up for IEM and Vegas is that it's smaller than the total pool. I don't see it that way as a spectator. As a spectator, you kind of want to see variety no matter what. But it is definitely interesting to get that perspective of the pro players. Like they want to have consistency. I think that Flame, you nailed it. Consistency and reliability is like super important. And when you have things like 2CP being thrown in, maps that they haven't practiced a lot, that decreases the kind of consistency of their play and of each match from match to match. From a spectator's point of view, I like variety. I'd ideally like to see as many great maps as possible in a big pool, and then have an interesting pick ban phase, which is a metagame within itself. That can be part of the storyline, is like, oh, they banned this out instead of that, and they were expecting to ban this out, but they didn't, and now they're stuck with these choices. That's a storyline in itself. So yeah, that's the spectator's point of view, at least.
Well, I would say, so I'm similar to you, right? So from a spectator, I like to see variety too, but at the same time is, I don't want to see matches where it's like, okay, the first game, it's just determined, right? Just within this map pool. So let's just say the first map's pretty even. Then the next pool, let's just say the next map that's chosen by the loser or whatnot, that just ends up being just some kind of stomp. Like, the last thing I want to see is like huge stomps during any of these rounds, because that team just hasn't practiced that map at all, and they don't really care about that map. As long as they get to pick the maps that they want, they're kind of banking on that a little bit more. And so it turns into just these terrible one-sided rounds. Like, I definitely don't want to see that. Like, that, I think that is like worst case scenario for me.
Wasn't there also a scenario? Was it 2 days ago? I remember there was a little bit of talk about it in the OW, where someone was complaining at like, oh, it's fun to see all these maps being introduced to the game, that Blizzard's kind of forcing these kind of maps, right? And then someone else said, well, it's not really that much fun watching Ilios for the 4th time today. So I mean,
sure.
I think it goes both ways too, right? I mean, I for one wouldn't enjoy watching Ilios 4 times the same day in every single match. Right. So it goes both ways, right?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to talk more about that too. Is that
last point that we'll probably should.
They're not banning right now, I don't think, for NGE. Like, I don't think banning's a thing. I think it's just like you win and then loser picks, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's super, super advantageous for whoever wins the first match of the best of 3. And I find that a little unfair. I mean, it's not even a little unfair. It's just straight up unfair, right? Because the first map is just selected. I think like one team picks map and then one team picks side or something. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, that's crazy to me. I would arguably rather Blizzard force the first map, so at least you could say that no one made the decision. Because, I mean, at that point anyway.
I mean, picking side is not that big a deal.
No, picking side. Oh, yeah. I mean, there's like some strategy involved with picking side, but in terms of just like outcome of match, I think you'd rather always have map pick first. So, because like you win the first map, then they pick, and then like best case you win, worst case you get to pick map again. So yeah, I think that's a problem.
I guess one little like last point of this, I brought this up like a long time ago, just maybe a few episodes that we have done just through the months or whatnot, and I think we'll have to retire maps. Like, eventually, you don't have to retire it from the game itself, but we saw that. We saw that with StarCraft. I mean, CS:GO doesn't play every single map like ever in the history of CS:GO either. So I think eventually Overwatch will have to do the same, at least in competitive Overwatch. Whether you just retire it down to X number every single time or not, I mean, that's obviously variable, and figure out what's the most optimal. You can't have a 50 map pool and people picking maps. It's just not possible for the players to practice so many. But okay, let's move on. Real quick, I want to give a shout out to the iTunes folks. Though folks that are listening to the show via audio and find us on iTunes, you guys are awesome. I do want to give a shout out to Chunkster McGee, who is the last person to leave 5-star review and an awesome. If you do want to help out the Overview, help folks find the Overview by just searching for Overwatch podcasts on iTunes, go ahead and leave a 5-star review there and a nice comment that helps out the SEO for the Overview, and again, for more folks to be able to tune in this awesome shit that we do every week. Moving on, let's do some event results. So we hadn't had too busy of a week. We definitely have a couple ones that are going on right now, Winter Premiere and NGE. But we did have a big one that we like totally promoted last episode, which was supposed to happen this past weekend, MGA. And what happened to that tournament, Ben? You want to give us a lowdown on that tournament?
There was actually an article on Red Bull Esports about how not to run an esport event. They wrote after the crashing and burning of this MGA tournament. It was meant to take place in the Gfinity Arena in London, which, by the way, is an established esports arena. They've held dozens of events there. I still am very confused as to how you could screw up this badly. But basically, the first day there was delay after delay, technical issue after technical issue. Then the second day they basically said the event's over, it's canceled. So the 4 teams that flew from across the world to make it to London in person basically just had to fly back home and not play their tournament whatsoever, which is obviously a disaster. And you got to feel for whoever is on the marketing team for MSI who put this on or decided to take a risk and do it, because this is basically the worst anti-advertising you could ever get, is the failure that was that tournament. So
I don't know, dude. Did you see their Twitter?
Oh yeah, that was even worse. Oh my god!
Wait, what do you mean?
Not a good week for MSI.
Oh, okay, yeah. That was.
You saw it?
Yeah, I saw some of that too. Yeah, this is unbelievable. Actually, I mean, it actually is astonishing that this is kind of happening, because this was a LAN event, guys. This wasn't an online event. You know, we've definitely heard some online organizers have to cancel it for whatever reason. This is we fly everybody out there, and they just don't get to play, and I don't even know what happens.
Kangdu Panthera from Korea, man.
Yeah.
That is not a short flight.
Rise Nation. They have a lot of fans right now. Everyone was looking forward to seeing how they're going to play, and yeah, they had to go back to NA.
Yeah, even NIP too, right? NIP was supposed to play too. I mean, this was supposed to be kind of like the big tournament for folks that didn't get invited to MLG and AM. So, really disappointing. Really disappointing for even us as fans. We didn't get a chance to see some of these teams that we were looking forward to last weekend. So, please, organizers, make sure your computers work and just everything. Before you get.
Chris, this is not like this is not like 2012 anymore. Yeah. This is no longer like the basement days of esports where, yeah.
There's a lot of pressure right now on MLG and IEM right now. It's because, I mean, December's been taking some hits. Overwatch esports took some hits this month. I feel like the players, the spectators. You consider DreamHack happened the week before, and then they didn't have the first day. They just missed the first day. Or was that 2 weeks? The Saturday of DreamHack that just didn't get streamed, and then Sunday comes back, and then last weekend that tournament was I'm just tilted thinking about the stream, because even when the tournament was announced it was over, they left the stream up, and it was running for 5 hours.
Oh, really?
After the tournament was just ended. Yeah,
I didn't even realize that. Wow.
It just kept the screen up there. It said we'll be back shortly, and literally 10 hours of that.
Well, I mean, you're probably still trying to do something. I don't know, but yeah. Anyways, let's move on to some events that
we don't need to shame
on.
them.
Exactly.
They already feel deep shame, I'm sure.
So Winter Premiere. So there were the qualifiers that have been going on, right? The last I think 3 qualifiers. So anyone walk us through that?
Sure. Winter Premiere coming up in a couple of weeks here. It's for $100,000. Wait, was it more than that?
No,
$100,000. They've run a couple of online qualifiers. Each qualifier will birth the team directly into the finals, but they're also awarding points. So it's a total of 8 slots are given away over 4 qualifiers, and that's actually an interesting format, given that the team that won the first qualifier was kind of a new team on the block. Kingdom Esports ends up winning qualifier number 1, qualifying directly into the Winter Premiere finals, and you should mention that they had to beat teams like FaZe to get through that bracket. So they had some pretty tough competition, and it's cool. It's cool to see a new team on the block, basically, well, not brand new, but a team up and coming qualify directly into the finals. So we're going to see a lot more of them. And by the way, folks, a lot of people have been wondering where Gods is going to end up now that he's no longer with NRG. At least it looks like he's temporarily with Kingdom. I don't know if it's finalized. I don't know if you guys have any information that I don't, but Gods was playing for this Kingdom Esports squad, so that's pretty cool. Qualifier number 2, Cloud9 qualified. Qualifier number 3 is Complexity. Qualifier number 4, I think is that today?
It's on right
now.
I mean, it's not on, but it's going.
It's happening right now. Yeah. So yeah, in terms of points, you've got a number of teams that will continue to qualify beyond winning these tournaments. At the top of the list, you've got teams like LG, Immortals, FaZe up there, a team called Citizen 7, which I don't know much about. Also important to note, I think, for a lot of the fans of the scene, is NRG has only played in one of these qualifiers, and they made it to the final 4 or final 8 of that qualifier, but did not get much further than that. So right now, it's up in the air if NRG will qualify at all. I
Yeah,
don't
they
even know.
played in
I don't know if they're
two.
playing today. Oh, they played in 2?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
they got slammed, I think, in both of them.
Oh,
but,
really?
Okay.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it
So it's looking like if NRG's not playing in the qualifier right now, it's looking like they have no chance.
yeah, unless they win. Like they have to
Unless
win
they-
out today.
Yeah.
Literally the only way.
Oh, Juvenile. Okay, I'm totally wrong. I guess NRG played in all 3 of them.
Yeah, they played in all 3. I'm pretty
Never
sure,
mind.
but they
Take
just
it back.
got. They only have like 20 points or something, so they have to. It's either win out today or they just don't make it. But
Damn.
today,
I'm struggling, man.
yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Today's a big day, though. I mean, not that any of it's streamed. I still don't know what's
Oh,
going on.
they're
with
playing
that.
against FaZe right now, apparently.
Oh, are
Yeah,
they?
look,
Wow.
FaZe needs to win. So that's the problem. I don't have a lot of gripes right now. My life's pretty good, but one of the gripes I'm having is that today should have been streamed 100%. Like there should be streamers going on right now because if you look at the point system, where is it? Someone just posted in chat. 120 Liquid, 110 Fnatic,
Wow, it's close.
100 for
man.
LG. Yeah, everything is really close. FaZe has 80. Okay, like FaZe is out right now based on points, but if they like can make it to top 4 or 5 today, like if they get farther in this tournament than Immortals, I think they're in. Or there might be a tie. I don't know how ties work in this system, but there's a lot of very, very high stakes matches going on just in terms of the results are literally all that matters. I think that the round of 16 or round of 8, whatever it is, depending on how you look at these brackets, is more important than the semis and finals today. Because the teams in the semis and the finals should already have like birthed into the tournament, if that makes sense. Like, because they'll have the points from today regardless.
Right.
But the teams that don't make it there are going to be like throwing haymakers at each other. And what like the semis or the quarters is when someone's going home and someone's not
Right.
staying in the tournament. So, yeah, there's some high stakes Overwatch going on right now that isn't being broadcasted.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, that's definitely a bummer for sure. You can see the results here. Yeah, definitely a lot of favorite teams too that are going on.
I mean, another
Are they
thing
not gonna show any of it like today at all?
well, they
Oh,
showed the
man.
semis and finals.
Yeah, just the semis and the
That's
okay.
it.
All right, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, anyways, we'll have to try to catch the semis. We'll see what the results are. I'm sure it'll be posted on our competitive Overwatch a little bit later. We do have another tournament that's going on right now, which is the NGE tournament, and that's at least been broadcasted. I was watching a little bit last night.
No, that's it. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing though. It's, I guess with the semis and the finals of, is it each of the qualifiers, right? Just the semis.
No, NGE is winner premier.
Oh, sorry. Oh god, I'm getting it all messed up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Same thing.
Yeah, same thing. Shoot. Okay.
It's
so
cool
I
to
guess
see.
we-
Just perusing through the results, it's cool to see that Team Liquid looks like they've had at least some strong showings. They haven't qualified yet, obviously.
Yeah.
So today's actually huge. I mean, will it be Fnatic? Will it be Team Liquid? Will NRG make like a surprise like result and win the whole thing and qualify? Because that's like really their only chance left.
Yeah, so Liquid won.
FaZe
it looks
is on the
like.
bubble. Immortals is on the bubble.
Yeah.
Rise is on the bubble. Like literally, like today will define which of these teams go through. So
It looks like Liquid has secured. I don't know if they're secured. They're close. They just won, so they're in top 8, which is a big deal.
seems like Liquid's qualified then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They've already got 110 points.
It'll be close.
They've
It
been
depends on what
looking
happens
pretty
with
good
FaZe.
too. Actually. Watching some.
And if
them-
the other thing that is crazy is that if some team that's not even in the running just wins today, like just wins out somehow,
Yeah.
like just a miracle tournament for I don't know Rise or I don't know Spicy Boys. Spicy Boys have been playing pretty well, but if one of those teams just comes out of nowhere and wins today, then it like really screws someone. Someone's going home.
Spicy
Right.
Boys, huh?
Spicy Boys, exactly.
Who's on Spicy Boys?
I was thinking exactly thinking the same thing.
Yeah. Who are
Who
the Spicy Boys?
The Spice Boys.
So it's like
Oh.
Sickness.
Oh,
Spose on
okay.
it. Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's like a crowd favorite, or at least for me, because I
Yeah.
love Sickness. But
TF2 bias.
Yeah,
much.
totally.
I mean, we were teammates in this game, but
Yeah, true.
yeah, they randomly just decided that they were going to turn up yesterday. Like they 2-0'd NRG. I think they beat Kungarna, who made it to the finals the first day. Like they
Oh,
had
he's
some
defeat-
pretty big upsets
Impressive.
yesterday.
You've been watching.
Yeah,
too,
IDDQD.
Yeah, you've been watching.
I mean, you
too?
were saying
Yeah.
you were saying before the show, it's good to see up and coming teams, right?
Yeah, I'm very happy about it. It actually is very good for the scene. Just to see, for other people to know that, you can't beat the existing teams no matter how long they've been in the beta, or, everyone has a fair shot. And, a lot of teams have proven that. And it's just very healthy for the scene, all in all.
Definitely good. And this being
There's a lot of Overwatch.
Yeah, this being NG's like first event too. Like, what do you guys think of the production so far from them?
Their studio looks beautiful.
Yeah,
that's a legit setup. I mean, that is not even like a mid-tier setup. That's like a real badass looking studio. So props for that, guys. I don't know where it came from, but
yeah, and they have
I think they've been established.
Yeah, NG's been around for a little while, not a long time. But they definitely have some good backing because that's pretty nice.
Yeah, they have their own set of casters too. So they got their whole collective group. Probably observers too, and producers and directors. Yeah, so far I've definitely enjoyed the broadcast. The casters are obviously a little less seasoned than the casters we've been using. I mean, I think we've been spoiled like up to date now, seeing like with a lot of the events that we've seen, because we've had like just top tier casters from all kinds of different games. Obviously, casting Overwatch now, and our Overwatch casters at this point. But it's great. It's great definitely to see some new faces, even on the analyst desk and casting, and on top of just new teams. It's good to see new talent too. Definitely. All right. Any other events that we missed? I think that's it, right? Nothing else going on right now?
Nothing really.
So why don't we? If anybody's got any questions, we do just our mini Q&A now. We didn't actually get any emails this week, but if you are listening to the show and want to ask us a question for this segment, go ahead and email that to the overview at ChanManV.tv, and we'll be sure to read them out next week. But if you do have any questions, go ahead and put them in Twitch chat, and we'll take a look at them. Let me see if I got any on Twitter. I didn't really ask people to send it out this time around. Actually, there is a question on Twitter. Let's see. Exception asks, how does everyone feel about Blizz pushing PTR patches live without any tweaking to hero? PTR patches are basically hero balances.
I think what he's saying is, that Blizzard was very explicit about the last PTR patch, saying we're trying a lot more things, less will go through. In the end, the vast majority of changes did go through. Not all of them.
Okay.
There were a couple that didn't. But I mean, I think the consensus with us on the show has generally been there could have been more testing in especially this last patch.
It's just hard to test. I mean, PTR, not enough people play in the PTR for you to really get a great test. So
I'm at the point where I don't even really appreciate the PTR to its extent of what it's supposed to do. Like,
we should have PTR events.
No, so I mean, I had this conversation the other day on my stream with people, or I don't even know if it was with people, but I had a stream going, and I was talking about how Dota does it, where they hire people to test for them, players, and they have a legitimate balance team at Valve, I think, because I met them at TI. There's a whole group of them that helps Valve specifically with balance and stuff. I would I guess they sign NDAs. I mean, you wouldn't want to break an Ice Frog NDA. You might die in your life.
True.
The way it just makes more sense to me, because I don't know how I don't want to bash on PTR, but it's the quality of the games was so bad, and I actually did try to do it. I actually put a lot of effort into playing on PTR when the PTR comes out, because I mean, it's a break from ranked. It's a good learning session. You get to see what's coming up, what to expect in the meta, so you're not surprised when the tournament's patched and then you're oh my god, I don't know what's going to happen here. So it's just I know the data couldn't have been that good, just because I know that every single game I played had ranges from gold to grandmaster. So
that's what I mean. I think it would be fun to organize some events around PTRs. I think that would encourage the players. I mean, if not paying the players to test it for you, I mean, just organize some tournaments. I think some people would just definitely be encouraged just to ladder, in these tournaments, or stream these tournaments, or whatever. It doesn't have to be crazy official. Just do something that encourages people to go play the PTR. They would benefit too, right? They'd get good data.
Well, it's hard. It's really hard because, again, the players are never going to want to play. I mean, the pro players anyway. And I think that's who they should be balancing around. I mean, that discussion is a completely separate discussion that I don't want to have. But
right.
You know what I mean? It's if the pros aren't going to play it or test it, and then it screws over the spectator scene, then that kind of hurts. It like double hurts, I guess, because you're making the players play stuff that wasn't like properly vetted, I guess, and then.
Well, I mean,
if the
you
players
can't
are
have it both
against
ways,
it.
you know what I mean? Like,
well,
like
no, I know that's what I'm
get
saying.
mad
So
that
like,
they're
I would
not
almost
testing
rather
it.
the PTR just be. I'd rather them do small iterative changes rather than like massive
giant ones. Okay.
giant. Unless you're gonna do it at like a very very specific time. Like I mean, I'm gonna use Dota again. Like 7.0 just came out literally the night after the major. So like the major's over. There's no competitive like Dota. Just nothing else matters. We're gonna change the game super drastically. We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
And, like he's been.
That's a good point.
You know, like I like that strategy more, but it's obviously not easy for everyone to adapt to something like that. Like I don't want to compare Valve's design philosophies to Blizzard's, but you know what I mean. Like it's like well timed and everything.
Yeah. What do you think, buddy? Like as a player, like what could motivate you to play in PTR more?
Wow, that's difficult. I really don't know. I remember I spent a lot of time when Sombra was released. I remember I probably spent the most time playing Sombra in the PTR because I thought she had like unlimited potential in a team setting. I still think she does. It's just that people haven't really figured it out completely just yet, but I think people are like on the verge of figuring it out. But I mean, Sombra was enough for me to hit up the PTR and play continuously until it was shut down, right? Now when Symmetra and the new map came out, I actually haven't even been onto the PTR. Like I saw no reason for it. So there's definitely like a contrast between those 2 points. New hero, yeah, I'm trying it, or new balance changes to heroes that I'm not really too attracted to. That just doesn't happen. Like I'm not attracted to going onto the PTR, but you just play the normal version instead.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Like anything that would motivate you to play on it, like at all. Like, I mean, obviously, if all the other players were playing, you probably would, right? Just to at least.
Well, something in terms of like if you're playing it, you actually have a chance to make a little bit of an impact. Let's say let's say I play Sombra, right? Let's say use an example. Let's say you take one DPS player from each and every team that just plays Sombra for like 2 days straight, and then you just gather up the like have like a community Discord with Blizzard and the players.
Oh, okay, yeah, feedback session.
We think this about this hero. Yeah, and anything like that. Like, for a fact that they're listening to you, because right now you're going in there, you're playing Sombra, you might have opinions, but at the end of the day, they might not even listen to what you have to say. So yeah, you're only playing it to learn the character essentially, and that's about it.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
I think that's that'd be a pretty cool, great thing. I mean, if they do want obviously the feedback from you guys, and why not just get it directly from you guys? And it sounds like it would motivate you guys to play it more too, instead of just looking at statistical analysis.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
The one thing I'd say on this note is I like changes.
I do too.
Like ultimately, I think it's good that we've seen more changes than less, even if they haven't been executed as well as some people would have liked, or some people disagree with some of the balance changes. It's just good to see Blizzard making lots of changes and trying to balance things continuously, iteratively over time. I think we're going to continue to see changes that go in the right direction. Some may be missteps, others, and probably, hopefully most, will not. So it's, in my opinion, it's just good in general that they've been acting quickly and updating a lot.
Hey, is Oasis out today?
No,
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, it wasn't.
It's just a Metro. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions? Maybe take one more. Ben, you see any by chance?
There were a ton of questions, but then my laptop ran out of batteries.
Okay,
but I do remember one, and it's very pertinent. And there's also one more thing that I think we should look at before we end the show, which is the IEM brackets were published.
Yes.
So we can look at those. But there's just a really simple question. Or I take it back. Not simple, probably has a lengthier answer, but what do we think Symmetra is going to do to the meta? Do you guys think we're going to see her this weekend?
Yes.
After playing with her a little bit, like, where do you think she's going to fit?
She's going to bolster the tank meta even further. I mean,
primarily defense or?
Yeah, definitely defense. Oh,
I think it's.
God. I mean, if you think about the ultimate, right? That's the only thing I'm thinking about right now. That it.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I'm at the point where I think the hero swaps will become more prevalent. I mean, if I was going to predict, because you're not going to run on offense, right? So I think mirror comps will go away, but I don't know what the correct comp will be to counter it. because I think you're gonna have to run like Tracer or something,
How do you? Yeah.
right? Like you need a Tracer or a Sombra on offense now if teams do run it on defense. And even if you screw up your first point defense, I think it's still worth it to invest in the extra HP for the second point on some maps. Not all of them, but I can see like you run a Symmetra on Gibraltar, you get steamrolled, and then you just like set up base camp in the hangars phase, and you know, I don't know.
Just imagine that. Fine. Think about that for just a second. An Ana with 275 HP.
That's a Zenyatta dude. 275 HP.
It's hard enough killing an Ana as it is now with their hitbox and everything, but now she's gonna have even more HP. Nah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm happy there's a little bit of vacation for me right now. I'll enjoy watching the tournaments, not playing them for once.
You don't think you can pulse bomb? You don't think you can just run a Tracer and instantly deal with that though? I feel like you can.
Yeah, but also if it fails, then
I mean
that's been taking a lot of time.
True, for sure.
Okay, so I've got
It's a high risk thing.
Go ahead. Okay, so I actually have the brackets up right now for IM. I thought were there 8 teams originally?
It was only 6.
Oh, it's only 6.
It's only ever 6.
So there's just 2 teams with buys
But
here.
I'm wondering, how did they decide who gets buys?
No idea. The 2 finalists.
Yeah, it's wonky to me. It's really wonky to me. I don't know how they did that.
I mean,
I guess it was based off
it's based
Apex.
Off Apex, totally.
I guess it's based off Apex.
It's the finalists. No, that's not Apex because Rogue finished the same.
Yeah,
as
well, it's semifinals,
right?
but Misfits didn't play, so they by default get a higher seeding. I don't know. This seems weird.
I mean, it was 6 teams. Someone said that it was probably just they didn't want to give both of the Western teams a bye because it would have looked bad or something. So they had to pick one. So they went with Rogue because Rogue had already been to Korea. So they had proven that they were better than some of the Korean teams. I mean, there's like a lot of things that went in. But when you have a 6-team tournament, I don't think that there's a really good way to do that.
Yeah, it was just odd to pick 6 to begin with. But surprised they didn't do just 2 groups. I thought they were just going to do 2 groups and just have the top 2 teams come out and play each other.
That's what I would have assumed too.
That's
maybe it's just they're slow on time or something like that. I don't know. But it's definitely a little bit weird. It's not double elimination either. It's best of 5s throughout the whole thing, which is not like we like best of 5s. Best of 5s are good, but if you lose in the first round, like you're gonna feel kind of slighted. It's gonna suck.
I mean, Misfits Lunatic High, dude. That's pretty great matchup to start things off. LW Red versus Kongdu Panthera too. I mean, apparently KDP is supposed to be really good, right? We just haven't gotten a chance to see that team quite yet, or at least perform at the level that they do in practice. What do you guys think, just with these matchups?
I like the matchups. That's literally all I can say. It's gonna be very interesting to watch, obviously.
I'd be surprised if Rogue doesn't make it to the finals. I think the other side's gonna be a little bit more of a toss-up, I guess.
Really? I almost felt like, I don't know. Like, well, sorry, you're right. It is a toss-up, but like Misfits or Lunatic High, I feel like have got to be the favorites on the top side. I don't know. Maybe
I just mean I don't know who's going to win that match, but I think for the other 2, you expect. Well, then who's the last team on the top? Who has the bye in the first round?
Africa Blue.
AFB.
Oh, so maybe you're right. Yeah, maybe you're right.
AFB gets like no love at all, man.
I know they made it to the finals of Apex. I'm sorry, but
oh man, it's
a new BK, not BK, luxury watch team. Like they switched half their roster or something.
Oh, they did?
Oh, okay.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
There was an article about that somewhere.
Be,
they got rid of Awesome Guy. There's no more Guy of the Awesome. I'm pretty upset. He was like the original Miro.
Yeah, it's true.
Before people knew who Miro was.
Misfits Rogue in the finals. That'd be pretty hype. I think for that event, that would probably be serious hype, having Misfits.
It's so hard for me to kind of like figure out which team got the best of the trade as well. I'm just gonna have to wait and see.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just very curious to see who will develop faster. I feel like Rogue will be incredibly strong right now.
Yeah, what's cool is that even LG was doing. I mean, they did well yesterday. It's not super indicative of a global standing, but they took out some teams yesterday. And
I saw that, which I thought was very, very nice. I'm happy for them.
Yeah, Heaton's good, and Crew is obviously very, very strong. Like they had so many swaps yesterday, it was crazy. Like they were just constantly switching heroes all day. It was refreshing, I guess is the word I'd use.
Well, now
Yeah,
they have players who can excel at different roles too. Like they can actually swap anything they want, and that is crucial, especially in Overwatch.
I can't wait to see how these teams shake out after the roster swaps. Again, if you guys were under a rock last week, there's a blockbuster 3-way trade deal between Rogue, Misfits, and LG. Misfits is now an entirely Swedish team. Cannot wait to see how these guys play. It's going to be really interesting.
Yeah.
And now Rogue is almost entirely French with Skipjack. So yeah, like huge roster swaps on two of the best teams in the world.
Yeah.
And arguably they're both like, we don't know how they're going to shake out, but on paper they're both going to be just as good as they were before, probably. I mean, IDDQD, you said you weren't sure, but any like inkling of an idea of who came out most favorable from that trade?
Looking at like complete like from how the roster used to be and how powerful they were before the trade, I think LG got the best of it. I think just by the fact that LG wasn't really that strong before, but I feel right now they have actually a possible shot or getting up there. But still, between Rogue and Misfits, obviously, I just think it's very good for LG that they got a favorable trade in their favor as well. It's nice to see more teams up there. Obviously.
It's so interesting you say that, because I think a lot of people are seeing that after getting a chance to watch LG play a few times now. But yeah. LG was probably the least talked about out of the three teams, right? Like,
well, they've been like dormant
by far.
Yeah, like moved to NA and then like kind of. I mean, there haven't been that many big events. I guess MLG is like the first big event since what? Like, was there anything since E-League really that was like a lot of teams? I don't think so. There's just been a lot of 14 lands.
Yeah, most of it overseas. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you weren't there, they just kind of disappeared. But yeah, picking up Hedon and Crew is like, that's like either of them could play like an assault hero if they wanted, or whatever hero they wanted. So
yeah.
All right.
There's a lot of talent.
Yeah, definitely. This starts on Friday, so definitely check that out. And I think MLG starts on Friday too, right? Or is it Thursday? No, Friday. It's Friday. You guys are going Thursday, right? So should be lots and lots of Overwatch to watch just on those 3 days. So definitely tune in to see some of the best teams playing right now in Overwatch. But I think that's gonna be it, guys, for the show. Can wrap up. Yeah. I didn't think we had that much to talk about, but damn. We spent like a good amount of time.
We spent a lot of time on skins.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time on skins and the balance.
Worth it.
We spent a lot of time on every section.
Yeah, totally. But IDDQD, man, it's been a lot of fun having you on. And I know you watch like from week to week, so awesome actually having you be part of this. So any shout outs you want to do?
Yeah, very, very happy to be here. No, not that many to you guys. Thanks for having me on. It's been fun. Hopefully we can do this again anytime soon.
Yeah,
sweet.
Awesome. Flame, any Christmas wishes?
Yeah, I got some. I mean, I got my tree up. I'm ready.
Yeah, dude.
I'm ready to go to Vegas, come back, and celebrate some holidays. You know, I don't know. Check out my stream. Shout out to my viewers. Shout out to the people on Reddit that support me, and all these like random people that have put me on their shows, like ChanManV. So I've done like a lot of. I feel like I've been like talking to a lot of people recently that I would have never known before this year. Like this has been a pretty crazy year. I mean random in like a negative way. I've been all over the place, and I feel like it's just really crazy. It's just been like a crazy year for me. I don't know how else to explain it. Yeah.
It's a great year, totally. And
get cut from Splice in July, start making YouTube videos in August, and then go to MLG in December. It's been nuts.
The alternate path of a player. Right. I know, but definitely good luck to you, man, on MLG. It's going to be exciting to get a chance to see you on the big screen. You know what we need in the community? Like I've been wanting to talk to Kiki. Actually, I mentioned to Kiki before, but we need like whatever happened to bar crafts and stuff like that, Ben. Like,
dude, they died.
I know. What the fuck, dude? We need to like start that shit up with.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Like, what is that? Is that like the bar crawls for like Dota and stuff?
Just for esports events. Yeah, it was like StarCraft, right, originally, but
every major StarCraft tournament used to have like dozens.
Yeah, and like we don't have anything. I mean, Hearthstone has like the Fireside Gathering, so we don't have anything equivalent to that in Overwatch yet. Maybe we can start up something like that. That would be pretty amazing if we could just get some gatherings. I have like a meetup here that's made for Overwatch. I haven't done anything with them yet, so it's just like we should do some viewing one of these days. But anyways, Ben, shout outs. Anything?
There was one more question that was asked in chat, and I have to ask it. Okay. I have to before we wrap up. Otherwise, I feel like we wouldn't be.
Here we go.
IDDQD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's with the team, man? What are you when are we going to hear more news?
The only thing I can say is that it's definitely there's talks going on.
Okay.
We just have to witness. I think late January is what people definitely will find out.
Okay.
Okay.
So stay tuned, everybody.
Yeah,
you heard it
He
here
already has a
first.
date.
I'm not
you know,
quitting. I
it's
promise.
like-
I promise. I'm not quitting for sure. I think everyone knew that, but yeah, late January is where people are gonna see what happens.
Cool.
So no full-time streamer here or anything.
Oh hell no! Competitors for me, you know.
All right.
Too
that's
much fun.
awesome,
Too
man.
much fun.
His mental state is clearly he needs the real
Right,
tunes.
right. Can't wait to hear the news on that. But yeah, I'll round things out. Thanking the three of you guys, IDDQD, Flame, Fishstix, for doing the show with me today. It's a lot of fun having all you guys watching. We had a lot of viewers at times because good old front page was amazing today. So any new folks to the show, welcome, and hopefully you guys continue to check it out. If you missed any of the show, you can check out the VODs on youtube.com/ChanManV. I'll have the VODs up very, very soon. If you want to check out any of the previous shows, like we talked about, everybody was wondering about MLG predictions. We talked about MLG last week, so if you guys want to check that out too, the VODs are there. And also, the show will be on iTunes late tonight, early tomorrow morning, so if you guys want to check it out on the way to work or whatnot, it'll be ready for you tomorrow. And it, guys. So for the overview and IDDQD, Flame, Fishstix, and myself, ChanManV, we'll see you next week. Later.
Take care, guys.